Well, during CNN's town hall last night, President Biden was asked if addressing racial disparities in COVID vaccinations will be a priority for his administration. Well, let's take a listen to his response. Listen carefully.
The other portion is a lot of people don't know how to register. Not everybody in the community, in the Hispanic and the African American community, particularly in rural areas that are distant and or inner city districts, know how to get online to determine how to get in line for that COVID vaccination at the Walgreens or at the particular store.
And joining us now to weigh in on Biden's comments is the executive director of the Diversity Coalition for Trump, Bruce Lavelle. You know, Bruce, I follow you on social media, and I know you have a thing or two to say about this.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. Thanks, Joe, for having me. You know, it's laughable, but it's also kind of sad. It also lets you see the state of our current commander-in-chief, where he is in terms of his mind. And it's really sad because you know, I don't know if he even know what he even said. I mean, and I say that respectfully, but let me push back on this a little more too. Listen, Operation Warp Speed has been driving 1,000 miles an hour. You know, for example, he didn't even know he was vaccinated while President Trump, before he was even inaugurated, Joe Biden.
In January.
So, you know, these are the things that listen, at the end of the day, I've always did this. I always had this hashtag elderly abuse. They set this man up in a basement to have him run for office. I've had family members, you know, and this is all jokes aside, guys. I've had family members who have these type of stages where they're forgetting things, they're mumbling, they're just randomly, our current commander-in-chief babbling like this when we have so much that could be compromised, especially as it relates to national security. You know, this is funny for a while, but it's not so funny because of the state of our current commander-in-chief and the state of his mind and his health, Heather.
Yeah, I think, Bruce, to that point, Joe here, you know, speaking of these mumblings, I want to take you through a couple other comments he made throughout the night, then get your feedback. Let's take a look at what he said regarding not having vaccines when he took office.
It's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm? So you need the paraffin, you need the needle, you need the mechanisms to be able to get it in. You have to have people who can inject it in people's arms.
That's been one of the problems, just getting enough people.
Yes, now we have made significant strides.
I mean, I don't even know where to start with that because the issue hasn't been the vaccinators. The issue has been that we had governors in blue states who spent the last 11 months saying Trump wouldn't have the vaccine ready for them instead of laying the groundwork to make sure that they were prepared once the vaccine was delivered. So what do we make of this where the president and Biden who was vaccinated, by the way, under President Trump, seems completely oblivious not only to what happened under the Trump administration, but also the current threat and the current challenges still facing America today.
Yeah, and see, listen now, remember what we see and all the Newsmax viewers, everyone in Eastern European and Middle East, Far East, they see what we see also. So that's the scary part about this, that like I said, our current commander-in-chief doesn't really even know where he is. You know, you saw a week ago he did a speech and he didn't know where to go. They had to tell him where to go to leave the podium, guys. And now listen, I say this again respectfully. I'm not laughing at it. It's actually sad. But listen, had they, the Democrats, especially Cuomo, you see his drama up there with the nursing home debacles and all the other things. But for the state of the country, if all of the American people, all the Democrat mayors, leaders, and everyone spent more time, Governor Whitner, Michigan, spent more time embracing and helping America as President Trump was in office on getting a proactive solution to get antidotes out there, or vaccines, as you might say, to the American people, and working hard together, we could have avoided a lot of these pitfalls. Right. So now, look what's coming to light. You know, all of this lying and cheating and stealing. Listen, unfortunately, there's going to be some more because you see how they rolling on Cuomo like a rolling pin.
Bruce, Bruce, before we run out of time, though, and I know that you want to speak about this as well, the passing of Rush Limbaugh, just as we wrap up.
Yeah, Rush, look, Rush look where I came from. I mean, come on, I've been a Republican since I was 18. I know I don't look 57 years old, but my first gig was stuffing envelopes for Ronald Reagan. He was one of many who inspired me to like, wow, wait a minute. Because let's just be honest, Joe, you know this too, real talk. Most historically, Black Americans were born, or as the decades, were put in liberal households and had to hear the liberal stuff. And then Rush was like, oh, wait a minute now. We got this thing called less government. We got this thing called personal responsibility. We got this thing called build your business, build your wealth. That was attractive for me as a young person, and to this day. So listen, guys like you, Joe, I know you're going to carry the torch, the Dan Bonginos and the Heathers, all you young people. This torch is going to be carried further because of folks like Rush that gave us the courage to just challenge the liberal side, say, wait a minute, that's wrong. And then if they come and attack him, he would double down again and say it one more time, loud and strong.
Well, so, he will be missed, and he's meant a lot to so many folks.
I appreciate it.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for Newsmax bringing light to that. I appreciate it.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yep.